Good evening. It is Monday, the 22nd of April, 2024. Just gone 8:30 p.m. UK time here in the Sunshine Coast, and we're going to be going to talk to someone from Manning Trees in a minute. And this is someone I've recently connected with through 45s. I get messages from people, or I reach out to people when I find people who are into 45s, and we got chatting about 45s. Then he mentioned about the mental health that he'd seen me talk about, and told me about a little bit about what he did, and I thought it'd be great to get him on. In the meantime, he's just done a record store day event in a record shop in the smallest town in the UK, and he's doing a 45-day event as well. So yeah, we've got a fair bit to talk about. So here we go. Without further ado, it's Keith, one man, two decks.
Hello.
Great to see you. Thank you so much for coming along. We've got
You're
quite a
welcome.
bit to talk about, even just in the recent past. But as with all my guests, I always like to take them right back to the beginning because, like you and I, we've all got this passion for music. And I'm really interested to find out who it was who instilled that, whether it was like parents or brothers, sisters, cousins, friends, and what sort of age you remember music from, and then a little bit about the records that you remember.
Yeah. So just I, as soon as you invited me, it got my mind going and just trying to work out the actual key point of getting that interest in music. It just really took me back and thinking about the records and started poking through. And again, as you say, it really inspired me to think about it. But the first records that I remember uh, having, and still got some of them, were the real sort of dodgy, cheesy '80s stuff from school discos and whatever, like the Joe Boxers and a few others, Adam and the Ants.
Yeah, Adam and the Ants. Yeah,
Who hasn't got most of them in their collection?
yeah, Stand and Deliver. That's just
That's it.
that's
That's
a
the
classic. That's really embedded in my mind seeing that
yeah.
video. But
Uh,
yeah,
but significant for the age and what have you, and just as you said, it just inspired the youth club discos. It was all about that. And of course, back in the '80s, there wasn't the streaming and everything you had now, so it was all about going and listening to it there. Um, that influence, I'm kind of guessing my brother did do. I've got fond memories of having the old Binatone portable recorder and doing the old record of the chart show on Radio One to be able to play it back in the day before you could download or anything like that. And yeah, so just youth club discos was sort of the key and the inspiration. And again, I said about my dad having brother having an influence. Probably more my dad. My mum was a great lover of Richard Clayderman, so I can
right.
categorically say that was not my inspiration.
No, yeah.
Uh, my dad a little bit more. There was one record that I know he still got that I'm desperate to get my hands on at some point. I bought it myself on a previous uh, event. It was the Kraftwerk Autobahn
Oh
album.
yes.
Legendary, fond memories of him
Yeah.
taking the pleasure on his hi-fi system, putting it on, and all that electro music that came out. And yeah, I think that's a real first inspiration of where I am with music now. That such an eclectic taste, but that sort of thing it comes out.
So that was a sort of introduction to it. When did it come to the stage where you were then going out and actually buying
So
sort of your own
so
records?
so again, Bad Manners. Gosh, it's Bad Manners was I think my first record, and I've still got it. Honestly, I've had pocket money, and I must have been 8, 9, 10, and bought it. And again, when you look trying to work out exactly, I've got the first Now album on cassette.
Right.
That-
Now that's what I call music, which
That's
is
it. Yeah, yeah,
they
completely.
hit 100, didn't they? Is that 100? I think they got
It's up to
to.
about 116 now.
That is crazy. I remember it'd be like, yeah. And then the other one, that's what I call music, wasn't it? They were the sort of two.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But
that was
yeah, go
it.
on.
But
Now one, amazing.
I know, completely. Got it on cassette, and I don't know for probably because I didn't have my own record player back then, and cassette used to have the old Sony Walkman type thing, walk around with the headphones on,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I probably bought it on cassette as opposed to buying it on vinyl. So wish I had it on vinyl, but
Yeah, I imagine that probably goes for quite a bit now.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
so cassette, and where did you buy it from? Can you remember the shop
Yeah,
that you went to?
again, the sort of shops around there must have been Our Price or
Yeah.
WH Smith's. Fondly remember going into town and going upstairs and thumbing through all the records and everything, the new releases, and yeah, I'm trying to think of those. There
Because I
is,
remember buying a 5-star cassette. Sorry, it's a bit embarrassing, but five star okay. There's a couple
yeah,
of good 45s.
I've got the albums as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
from I think it was Tesco, like, and
yeah,
because I think they had a music section
yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah,
This is like in the little town where my dad had his fish and chip shop, and then I'd just go
yeah.
off and just wander there. And then I remember physically buying that cassette at that shop, and
I know.
so
Yeah,
it's amazing how much music it was available
mm,
everywhere. It's sort of gone away, and now it seems to be available again, doesn't it? With like vinyl and
exactly.
Sainsbury's and places
Mm,
like that. It's crazy, really.
yeah, well, I remember some of my dad's records. He used to get from the local library.
Right?
So,
Yeah.
because the library stamps, you used to check them out, used to borrow them and listen to them. And it was like, really? Just that concept couldn't work nowadays, could it? Such that you'd have to literally have a vinyl library. And
Yeah, and I think also because they were cheaper then, weren't they? I think vinyl's
yeah,
so expensive now.
no,
People might not take it back to the back to the library.
no,
Um,
exactly. Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
but that's cool.
You pay your penalty for late delivery back and keep the record.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Well, I think most libraries you can probably still get CDs out. I think our library, when I last looked, used to, but I don't know about vinyl. But a vinyl library would be pretty cool, But maybe a vinyl listing library rather than a taken away
Yeah.
records. But yeah, cool. Okay, so that's when you sort of start buying, and I assume, like most people, did it become an addiction? Are you then just buying music all the
Um,
time?
yeah, as you say, you go through life and there's various stages. The age that I was brought up in, I sadly have to say that I kind of dipped out of the record and started going CDs. Say that cursed word.
I think, yeah,
Um,
we all did. I think we all
yeah,
did.
uh, but you look back now and think, oh, why didn't I go back for vinyl? And yeah, just as you go through the years, obviously the good CD collection as well. I've never got rid of them, much to the wife's dismay. But
Yeah, same here. I've got a load over there.
yeah, and then as you say, going through the ages that it was life. I've now got kids at 18, 21, and just the getting back into the vinyl. Uh, Again, it was the Ray that we were talking around later, a good friend of mine that he'd started getting his vinyl collection back together, and us going around it and thumbing through it. I'm like, oh, so much more pleasurable about sliding something out of the sleeve, and yeah, and obviously inspired me to get back into the vinyl and what have you. But
I think it's also the physicality, isn't it? Because with a record, you're always obviously more so with DJ because you're
yeah,
constantly touching the record. Whereas with CDs, you're putting them into a machine, and then
exactly.
it's
Yeah,
it's a very different thing, isn't it?
you can't physically see them, really, can you? But you put them
No.
into slot, they disappear, and but
Yeah,
you
yeah.
put a vinyl on, you're watching it go round
Yeah,
and
yeah. I mean, you're
everything.
not
So,
physically touching the CD, and it's the same with
mm,
MP3s. Effectively, you're not
oh
touching the MP3s. You have to have a controller or vinyl or phase or
yeah,
whatever to sort of
yeah.
control it all. But yeah,
As you
it's
say,
amazing
the
how far
fact
it's
of the
come.
physical things.
Yeah, 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 and exactly. And I think
Yeah,
there comes a point where you think, it's about the music and it's about the format, and I don't want to
mm.
get lost in just looking at my laptop all the time and just sort of looking at names and stuff. I think
No,
for me,
no,
that's what
completely.
got me back into sort of vinyl.
Mm.
But yeah, okay, cool. So you're still sort of collecting,
Yeah,
and how does it sort of progress from there? Because you only sort of recently sort of got into the DJing side of it, didn't you?
yeah. So probably about a year before COVID had kicked in, I was in a local charity shop that I've got connections with through the family and what have you, and had heard that. the guy that used to process the records had unfortunately passed away, and they were looking for somebody that knew about music, knew about vinyl, and I was in a position where I could offer my services back to the charity. Um, so yeah, just so I'd got my likeness back in, and then so working for a charity shop, I used to just go in and pick up the boxes of donations and flick through them. Obviously, sorting through the hundreds of Perry Como and and all that you'd obviously process further through. Um, but yeah, it's just that getting that box of old records and the smell that you get and trying to work out the history of where they've come from that gave me a real sense of satisfaction. You could tell by flicking through the first few as to whether it was going to be worth plodding on through. And
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. We talk a lot about how records are a piece of history and that they've been pressed at a certain place at a certain time
yeah,
in a certain country. You know, I mean, each
yeah,
record is completely different. But then there's also the history of the record as to where it's gone. You know, how many
yeah.
owners has it had? You know, has it had one, two, three? You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
has it just been owned by one person and then their whole life, and then they've died? And like you say,
No,
it's interesting
exactly.
to see from the collections what that style is going to be.
Yeah. So
And
you
exciting, I
say,
guess, to
yeah,
see
so,
what's going to be in there.
yeah. So some of them you even pull out, and there's like a little love note in it that they've written from, or a tag from Christmas or something that somebody's written, and it's just like, oh, sorry that we're processing them because obviously the person that gave them has got no interest in them. But the beauty of it is going into a charity shop, they're getting redistributed, so somebody else can either appreciate because they haven't got it, or you know,
Well, I went to Flashback Records and I got given a tote bag, and I'll get it. Hold on a sec.
mhm.
And it's sort of their tag, which basically says Flashback recycling music since 1997, and
Cool.
that's basically what we're doing, isn't it? With
Yeah,
records, you know,
recycling
no
completely.
one,
Yeah.
you know, people do throw records away and go to the
Ah,
trash, but most
yeah.
people will give them to someone else
Yeah.
or pass them along. You know, I mean,
Oh, you must have done it, but bought into a box that you've seen advertised somewhere, or picked up a box,
yeah,
flick through, taken what you want. But say the others are you can't bin them, so you
no,
probably dropped them off at a local charity shop yourself. That
yeah, yeah.
so even if it's selling for 25p or something for
Yeah, and it's the same as books, isn't it? You know, it's the same with books. People passing books down and rereading them, and you know, it's a physical format
yeah.
that can be shared. You know, as long as people
Oh,
can read and as long as people can play records, it's going to be
exactly.
shared forever, isn't it?
The one thing I constantly got asked is because I did some sales for the charity as well, and it was like, oh, have you got any old scratch ones? It's like obviously charity shop ones. I've got bucket loads of, but the amount of people that wanted to use them for art
Yeah,
was like, oh, just so I used to have a regular supply of the the
yeah. I
re-
mean, people make bowls and stuff and other things out of them, and it's you know,
mm,
it's vinyl, and again, it's been reused for something else. You know, again, better than going to landfill, isn't it? So.
yeah, completely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
records
I
are a
think
good investment. Let's put it that way.
so part of the processing of them that like most of them, as I say, they come through as Perry Como or Richard Clademans and the likes. And there was one set that came through. There was a few good ones in there, a few older ones that you start thinking, okay, they're starting to price up. And then there's one that I came across that absolutely the strangest looking sleeve. It was like just like a cardboard sleeve that had a hand drawn picture on the front, and it was almost stuck with double-sided sticky plastic, and
Right.
then inside it was all written, and just initially it was like, oh, a bit special. Put it to one side. Come back a week or two later when I had a bit more chance to look at it and done some more digging. Limited information on the internet about the group, and I'm like, oh, it's even worth nothing. Um, Ended up finding that the last one I sold on Discogs for £1,500.
What?
Yeah, I,
What
I,
was it like
I.
a handmade record?
So no. So it was a folk group called Paradise Square,
Right.
and never thought I'd see the day. No, you won't be able to see that. I was going to show you a picture of it. Yeah, and I managed to sell it on Discogs to some Norwegian collector. Apparently, it's one of 100 ever pressed,
Amazing.
and complete into his folk. So yeah, I'd say with sales, I sold it for just over £1,000 for the charity, and everybody sort of said to me that, and being an honest person, "Oh, why didn't you just keep it?" I was like, I don't want £1,000 record in my collection.
Yeah.
I was so, because I'd shipped it overseas, I had to listen to it to make sure that it was kind
Yeah.
of worth. And I was just even shaking, put the needle to it, thinking, just please don't. But yeah, so that was a real buzz for the charity out of just poking through.
And what was it you said? Norwegian folk.
No. So it's an English band.
Norwegian person bought it.
Yeah, shipped over to Norway because, of course, I was nervous about that shipping it overseas. So the band is called Paradise Square from 1960s, I think it was
Okay.
1970s.
Interesting.
So I actually managed to get Discogs' 10th highest selling record for
Wow.
those 3 months or something. It was like, yay.
Amazing. Amazing. Um, yeah, okay. And obviously, some people like Discogs, some people don't like Discogs, but clearly for a charity who has something like that that's unique or relatively unique, you need to be able to access the biggest sort
Yeah.
of music market out there, don't you, really? So, I think it's only a good thing that it exists.
Yeah, exactly. And at that time, it was kind of international. So obviously, I'd got the interest of poking up there that, as you say, you could do it on eBay or your local stores and what have you. But yeah, just I was just happy to get that money and process it. That, as you say, I quite like Discogs. It's handy for cataloguing everything that you've got.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Right. So obviously your name is One Man Two Decks, but we were talking that it's only relatively recently that you started DJing. So tell us
Yeah.
how that came about. Obviously you've collected records most of your life, but tell us how it got to the stage where you decided you're going to buy some decks and start DJing.
So again, my friend Ray's fault that after getting back into the records and that, and this is like you're like, I had an infinity with 45s. Just the thing that I liked was that there were so many. They're quite cheap, and the track length is just sort of perfect. So just that's the getting back into 45. But I started to get so many, and it's not quite so easy just to keep putting 45s on a single deck.
Yeah.
So Ray had bought himself a couple of decks, and a friend of mine, I've always known as Delta Gelt, that we'll talk about later. But yeah, he got back into it. I'd got me 45s, and in COVID, obviously, had a little bit more spare time on my hands. Started dabbling around and bought myself a couple of cheap decks, thinking, well, if he can do it, I can do it too. So, and just, yeah, the love of the 45s, it's just easy. Just, I'm no professional DJ, just mixing two tracks together to make it sound quite good. And started having a chat with Steve at my local record store in Manningtree, and he said, "Well, yeah, just if you ever want to try it publicly, you've got a slot down here at any time. Just let me know. We'll book you in and come set your decks up and play to my crowd. It's only a small venue, but it was perfect for me, and just built up to the point where I thought, you know what, I'm quite willing to give this a go. And I think the first crowd was about 10, 15 people, and absolutely loved it. It was just like,
It's a good thing, isn't it? Playing the music that you love
exactly,
and being able to share it with other people. It's why we love Twitch and why we DJ on Twitch, because we're sharing music with other people who, are there because they like the music or there because they like the vibe. So it's a great feeling, isn't it? Playing music to other people.
completely. Just seeing their faces change as you change the track from one to another, and it's like it's just come to the end of one track, and then you kick it off for the next one, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, love this song," and not that they boogied around too much, but yeah, just it yeah, draws you in. It's that love, as you say. Steve's doesn't care what I play. So
And it's also that musical freedom as well. I mean,
yeah,
I've DJed for quite a while now, but
mhm,
um, Twitch and 45s lets me play pretty much whatever I want,
Yeah,
which is great, and it just makes you a more interesting collector of music, a more interesting DJ, I think, because you're like, okay, well, I wonder if they'll like this particular song or that particular
right,
song, and it's that
exactly.
freedom, isn't it, to play?
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, brilliant. It's like as you say, it's just you put something on, and at the record store day that you put something on, somebody will sort of you can see their reaction, or sort of give you that nod of yeah, no, good track, and yeah, there's that positive.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to say hello to Damon McDonald. Big up. I
cool.
saw him
Hi there,
very
Damon.
briefly last week in the Jazz Cafe from Cambridge, but I've just been speaking to Yvette tonight, Damon. So get in touch with her. There's a cool event happening on 45 Day, in addition to what Keith's doing, but which we'll get
Cool.
to in a minute. And anyone tuning in on Twitch and on Facebook and Instagram, welcome in. If you want to come and join the chat, come on, find us over at twitch.tv/45day. But yeah, let's talk about Manning Tree, because I think one of the interesting things, one of the things that piqued my interest, I think, is when you told me about the record shop in Manning Tree, and then I looked it up, and it's like the smallest town in the UK. So I've
Yeah.
got a photo. So yeah, tell us about it. I mean, I hadn't ever heard of it until you mentioned it to me, and it
So
sounds
yeah,
like an interesting place.
it's a lovely little town. Just as you can see, it looks like it's on the coast of there, but it's not. It's on the Stour estuary, so it's the nearest town at the end of the estuary when it then turns into the River Stour that goes through the Constable country. So yeah, it's the my nearest town, a bit small. One sort of supermarket, a few other little shops, nice little high street, and then just tucked round the corner, just literally the road that you can see running vertically up from there is Steve's little vinyl shop, called Vinyl because he sells wine and vinyl. So it's a perfect combination of it.
I mean, yeah, it looks really cool, and I think I can't make it for the for the next event, but I think maybe later
You
in the
know,
year we can organise something there if anyone else wants a
yeah.
trip to Manning Tree. Right, okay, so tell us about the record shop that you played in then. So, how long's it been set up, and what's it like having a vinyl shop in what is quite maybe a quaint sort of small town, you
Yeah,
know, and if there are enough people interested?
exactly. So it's he started up. I think it was 5 years ago. I'm sure it was his fifth birthday last year. It was either 5 or 6 years ago. Um, yeah, he lives locally. Decided he worked in the music industry for a number of years. His partner is also into the wines, and a predominant job is a wine merchant. And I think they both had the brainwave of saying, "Well, I like wine, you like records. Why don't we put a shop together that sells both?" And
Yeah.
yeah, it's not the hugest record store in the world, but he's built it up. As you say, he literally got it up and running, and then COVID kicked in, but came up with the great delivery system, so you could order, send him an email, and you could order. It even deliver wine and vinyl to your door through COVID. But
Wow. Awesome.
because yeah, it was obviously his business. He could adapt it as and where. So yeah, it's just. But yeah, he's obviously got a license, so he can serve alcohol on site, and so yeah, it's
That's
just
dangerous if you're selling vinyl as well.
uh, yes, yeah, yeah, but great because you as well you can just have a nice glass of wine and or a
Yeah.
local ale that's done and be flicking through it and yeah, as you
Well,
say,
exactly. Good music and a good drink, whether it's wine or beer or whatever it
yeah,
is, you know, is really important. I'm going to say hello to Babs, Juice Box Toe,
like that.
over in Toronto. Hello, Babs. Hope you are well. But yeah, we ended up when we went to see Coco last week. We did a little bit of a dig, and I can't remember the name of the second shop we went into, but it was on the way to Yo-Yo Records, and they again were like sort of all natural wines and sort of eco
Yeah,
wines. And really cool, massive speakers at the end, and like a real retro mixer,
mhm,
and then a lot of sort of Japanese imported music, and that seemed to be their sort of niche,
oh,
you know,
right,
Japanese imported records and sort of natural wines, and
yeah.
yeah, there was people coming and going in it. It was great.
So yeah, they're mostly vegan wines. didn't even know there was such a thing. But yeah, apparently they use fish in the processing of red wines
I
at
think, yeah, I
times.
think
So
it's the,
yeah,
is it juice gut or something that they've
yeah,
strained the wine through? I don't know, something like that.
something like that. I just enjoy the wine. So, but yeah, he yes, he started off with a good mix of the old 7 inches and 12 inches and old vinyl, and also sold a bit of the new vinyl. He still had his connections from his previous work for buying in new imports, and he yeah. So, but over the years, he's kind of evolved himself and doesn't sell so much of the second-hand stuff now, predominantly because I was in the charity shop, so there was a perfectly good facility down there that was selling it. It wasn't really a competitive market for him, so
Yeah, yeah.
he's left the second-hand stuff to the charity shop, which is great, and that's how we built our relationship. He used to get offerings of second-hand stuff. He'd said he was not interested, but go and talk to Keith down at the charity shop, and that's kind of how the friendship relationship initiated down there.
Well, again, that's great, isn't it? And it's sort of like we were talking about earlier, passing on the records, isn't it? You know, he was being given something that he didn't necessarily need, but he'd say, right, try them, and then those
Exactly.
records might then sell to a
Yeah.
different market. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Going to say hello to Izzy Wizzy as well. 1, 2, 3, welcome in. Okay, cool. So it sounds like a really cool place, you know, and I think I
Yeah.
definitely have to
Lovely.
try and visit, you know, at some
It's
point.
not big, but it's worth a visit. He's also got a little room next door that he rents out that's separate. That me and a couple of the other locals are trying to convince him that he should knock a door through so that we can almost have a proper deck set up and whatever. And
Because where do you set up then? Is it just on the counter or
so yeah, just not the counter where he sells his records. Where I normally set up
right?
the decks there. So unfortunately, when I'm doing a DJ set, nobody can come flick through the records. But yeah,
Yeah,
when people are there, normally it's later in the day. They're not really there to buy records; they're just for the wine. But
yeah, yeah. But then it's cool, and obviously it can be dangerous, as Bab says.
of
Does her
course,
best
yeah,
record shopping when tipsy, but her wallet may not agree.
definitely,
But yeah, so tell us about Record Store Day then. Obviously, because it's a big event. It seems to
yeah.
be definitely getting bigger. Having spoken to
I
and watched a lot of stuff that's gone online, it seems to have attracted a lot more interest this year, which is great. So
definitely.
tell us about your Record Store Day.
So yeah, just again, it's yeah, he's building for Steve again. I think he obviously knew about that sort of thing because it's been going a good few years now. That
I think
um,
it's 16 maybe Record
yeah,
Store Day. Yeah,
so
something like
so
that.
for his previous work in there, that he knew about Record Store Day. I particularly never heard of it until I was getting back into my records, and then obviously talked to Steve. He'd advertised it one day, and I sort of said, well, what's it all about? He said, well, yeah, explain the whole concept of the limited edition releases, only a certain amount being pressed, and then of course the lists start coming out. You look at it and think, oh, I like that, and yeah. So not every year, but occasionally there's a few that sort of pop up on my horizon that I like, and yeah. So Record Store Day, he managed to get a street closure because it's not the biggest town, and he convinced council. So he also in store, apart from the DJ, and he has live artists, local live artists coming and do little stints. So on
Artists in
record,
terms of what bands and
yeah, music
singers. Yeah,
artists, solo artists, singer songwriters,
cool.
great mix of people. Um, this year kicked off with a local talent called Fraser Morgan, who's just he's been through mental health issues himself, but he writes from his heart, uh, and he's just got such an upbeat tempo, and yeah, just he's managed to get himself a line up at Lee Stock. Have you ever heard of Lee Stock? Which is
Yes. Yeah.
which is a fairly local to us, but he's got
Okay.
himself a slot there this year.
Is
But
that's the one that started in the guy's garden?
that's
Is
it.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, okay,
So
so that's close to you as well. Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, not too far away from me. So yeah, Record Store Day. Obviously, so the concept was live bands. I sort of did a opening DJ set. because it was outside. I've managed to sort of come up with a little setup in the back of my van. So I sit in the back of my van with the two decks and good pair of speakers booming
What
it
sort of
out.
van? What sort of van you got?
I'm just a standard Renault Traffic, but
Okay, cool, cool.
nothing glamorous. But
But enough to set up in and sort of have some
yeah,
speakers. Yeah,
sitting
yeah,
there, keep warm, and if it rains, of course, you can shut the doors down a
yeah,
bit. And
yeah, yeah.
luckily, it didn't rain. But yeah, so I do the opening bit, fill in between the band's changing over, and yeah, and I always work with Steve, and one of my ideas to come on a bit later as well that. If there's any other DJs that hear about it or anything, I'm quite happy to let them to have a slot. And this year there was a guy that is an acquaintance friend from going in and drinking and having a chat with Steve. His brother-in-law piped up and sort of said, "Oh, just I used to DJ, been through some health issues with himself, mental health issues, and kind of lost his mojo a bit. And so, chat to Steve, chat to me, and he said, just I think you're the right guy if he was to come down, um, yeah, and managed to get him doing a little slot on the DJ to the audience again, and just the family was standing there, was looking at him, and just you could see his face light up that he'd lost his mojo, lost his confidence a bit, and just doing like an hour slot got his mojo back. So that's a real positive vibe that for somebody that's been through some troubles and
It's an amazing confidence booster, isn't it? Being able
oh,
to play
completely,
music and being asked to play music.
yeah,
That's what it is, isn't it? That
exactly,
you asked him, you enabled him, you inspired him, and said,
hmm,
"Come and play a slot."
yeah,
And I guess he
exactly,
was pretty nervous, probably didn't want to do it, but the fact
yeah.
that he went through with it just shows the power of music, doesn't it?
Completely. Yeah, and just first couple of tracks, you could just see him relax, and then I, I was close by in case he decided he didn't want to go for it, and just but it was that sort of event wouldn't have mattered if he just dropped. But yeah, that was great to see him get his mojo back and giving him the constant confidence to go and see if he can seek some more gigs and what have you. So I give him a shout next event that we'll do.
Yeah,
But yeah, just off the back of that, one of my ideas that to try and talk about 45s is to try and I was hoping to sort of get it off the 45 day this year, but it hadn't quite worked. But we'll talk about that later. But just like a DJ workshop
yeah,
that Steve's got a little side room, set the decks up in, invite people to come in, and just like him, if he's lost his mojo, just come in and put the needle to the record again, and just give it a try. And again, working with adults with learning disability, there's one guy that he's done a DJing course. He's slightly autistic, but an absolute Star Wars mad and want to be DJ.
yeah,
And I'd have loved to have gotten involved in this 45 day, but just obviously I didn't get it off. But he done through sponsorship and the local charities. He'd done a DJ course to the point of doing a live stream. It's great. But when I saw the kit that they were using, it was just some sort of mini little beatbox thing, and
right.
it obviously seen what I do, and it really would love to have a go on some record decks, I think, and just that gave me the idea that right, I'd obviously I've still got to talk to Steve about it, but I'm sure he would be quite happy to let us use his facility and just sort of maybe once or twice a year open it up for just people to just come and have a go again,
Yeah,
try
and
for the
it's
first time, or
yeah, it's
just
great. We did a little bit at the little weekend campsite thing I did last year, and we're going to do it again this year.
yeah,
My daughter DJs, as do some of the other kids,
yeah.
and then we're going to do a
So
DJ workshop. And I thought in my head that it would be me teaching the kids, but then when we got there, my daughter and Olive were like, "Oh well, can we teach the kids?" I was like, "Yeah, of course you
yeah,
can." It's sort of supervised,
awesome.
and it was amazing. The kids teaching kids who had probably, you know, I don't know. I guess these days most kids have got a parent who might have vinyl in
Yeah,
their house, but then probably more likely not. So even if
exactly.
they have, they might not have ever touched it, or they might not have
Mm.
connected that you have to do that. Put the needle on and then you press play and then fade it up.
Yeah,
And it's quite a simple process of DJing,
yeah,
isn't it? At its bare minimum, it's put a record on there. At the
exactly.
end of that one, put a record on there and
Yeah,
move it across. And I think it makes it easy for people who've never done it before,
yeah,
and also who are kids to sort of get it. And I think, yeah, workshops is going to be a lot of fun.
exactly. Yeah. And as you say, carry on for that. There's another guy that I knew that when I was getting confident enough to do public, he used to DJ at nightclubs. So I went round his to see his setup, but he'd got the raw pucker stuff, and it was all the digital beat matching and all that. And I'm like, okay, this is above the level that I want to do at the moment. And it's like that might come in the future, but no, as you say, it's just the base level record player, mixer, put a needle to the record, and then at the end of that, get it to go on to the next one. But yeah, just that's as you say, get the workshop rolling. And if you were just vinyl, then if I get interested in it, then maybe teach myself a bit of digital mixing. But yeah, I don't know. There's just an idea for the future.
It's a great idea, and I've spoken to people in the past who have done similar things. Like, for example, Rodrigo Rockmore put on an event where she is in Mexico and encouraged,
Mhm.
you know, women, non-binary, anyone to come and sort of
Exactly.
try
Yeah.
and play. And then that created then a bit of an interest in vinyl. And then they put on an event. I mean,
Mhm.
imagine, you do a workshop and you get, say, 5 or 6 people who come and really enjoy it. And they're like,
Exactly.
oh, can we organize a space where we can actually play, for
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
7 records each, 30 minutes each,
Exactly. Yeah.
Overdraft down in Southampton does open decks, I think, pretty much every Wednesday.
Right.
And people can go down, they just put their name down, and then they get whatever it is, 30 minutes
Yeah.
or 40 minutes or an hour. And I think it's just opening it up and letting people get into music and vinyl that
Exactly.
is really important. It's where it's got me. So if it can bring me that much joy,
Yeah.
let's try and spread that joy to other people through music and
Exactly.
vinyl.
Completely.
But yeah, we'd
Cool.
we'll do something. We'd do some cool stuff. Right. So one of the other things we talked about when you reached out was sort of your work and a sort of link with mental health and the people you look after at the
Mhm.
farm. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
So yeah, I work for a charity called the Befriending Scheme. I actually work as a group leader on a community farm. So basically, adults with learning disabilities, all capabilities, from 18 up to I think the oldest is 72. So they come in for the social interaction with other likewise people, and to feel responsibility, feel a duty, feel like they're achieving something uh, for the day. So it's all from preparing some treats that they do, having a chat with us about what's going on in their life, and yeah, we're just a real social outlet all the way through feeding animals, mucking them out, hatching chicks, and oh yeah, we've got everything from sheep and goats, up to chickens. We've got a rhea, lizard, and just them sitting there and holding some of the animals at times just brings out emotions and conversation in them that some of the guys live on their own, so they've got nobody else to talk to. Um, yeah, and you say it's great, and I feel a real sense of empowerment being able to talk to them, find out what's going on in their lives. You know, just yeah, just really rewarding. And as I say, that's kind of also what gave me the idea. That there are services out there, but they're also quite limited as to what service. Hence the workshop thing that I'm thinking that it'd be lovely to move out and maybe extend it to that in later life. But yeah, it's just and one thing that I find that I've got in common with them all is a love of music. Just music. We'll have the radio on in the background, and one of them all of a sudden decide they're going to get on and dance to it and turn the music up. And yeah, just it's a real empowerment, just like and they're all quite interested in me doing the DJing as well as a little side hobby. But yeah, just like there was a guy in today that just we had that knew that I was doing the festival at the weekend, or festival, the record store day at the weekend, and just the first thing he asked me was, "Oh, how did it go?" His mum had been following me, and she obviously showed him the post I've been doing over the weekend.
Amazing.
And I didn't say earlier, but I was actually queuing at 3 o'clock on Saturday morning for my record store day.
What, 3 a.m.?
3 a.m.
You nutter.
No, that wasn't the start of it. They actually started queuing about 7:30. That the previous
7:30 p.m. the previous night, so Friday night.
Yeah, so they camped all overnight. I got knowing
Wait,
that
hold
the
on.
queue.
Let's pause there.
Go.
Where is the next local record store day shop though?
So to flip back and read. So the nearest records. So what I'm hearing. So Manningtree, either side of us, you've got two quite big towns, Ipswich and Colchester. So the next big town, there was one guy from Felixstowe, one guy from Upminster, which is further down towards London,
Right,
or
so
through London, and they all
quite a
come to
way.
this little tiny store in Manningtree for Record Store Day. And going back to Record Store Day, it was the biggest event this year for Steve for Record Store Day. I got there at 3 o'clock, expecting to be in the first half a dozen or so. I was 14th in the queue, and
At 3 a.m.
At 3 a.m. I'd woken up to go to the toilet, and just how it goes. And it was like I laid back down. I thought I could. So, and the funny thing was that we were actually at a social event for my wife that was in a pub just up the road from Wynham on the Friday evening. So I knew that they were there when I walked past them. And so I said, "I'm not staying here, guys. I'll see you in the morning at some point." And but yeah, just
That's bonkers. And I mean, I think that's the I don't know. There's pros and cons to Record Store Day, and I get people who don't like it, and I get people who do like it. But it's a clever concept, isn't it? Basically, if you want something physical, you have to physically go to a physical shop and buy it in person, because you're then going to help that shop. And most shops it does help, and I think this year's been quite good. And there's been some tragedies along the way where people have just bought too much. So it has got its pros and cons, but I think it is a very positive thing that it brings people together. So much so that there's now like unofficial Record Store Day events in record shops that aren't taking part and things like that. So they're like, yeah, okay, we're all going to celebrate records. It's Record Shop Day. Come and do it, and I think it's a good thing. But that is bonkers. The people are there from 7:30. What time did it open? 8 a.m. Was it 8 a.m.?
Yeah, so they start selling at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
So
12 and a half hours.
Knowing the queue was going to be there. But literally. So they'd laid on. There was a team that I know because they knew. So I was there at 3 a.m. Literally got my records at 8. When I had a little bit of breakfast, and then started setting up for the DJ event for the rest of the day. So I was there from 3 a.m. until 8 a.m. at night.
Crazy. But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what the first person in the queue was looking to buy or did buy?
No, that's all the cloak and dagger thing about it. You're standing in the queue, and it was quite weird because you're talking to the people, talk about records and everything. You kind of pick up the genres that they're into, but it's the whole secretive thing.
You don't want to tell them what you want, just in case they grab it.
Yeah, because the way that Steve runs it, you submit a list. He'll come round before 8 o'clock, take the list, and put all the records together.
Yeah.
But until you've got your ticket and know that your records are in that bag, you don't want to let it out, because I'd be, I'd forgotten about that one in front of you, and write it on their list. And if he's only got one copy of it, and it happened to me and a guy further back in the queue, that
it's a game, isn't it? It's
I got the one record that he wanted, and he was like, "Oh, mate," but he was quite pleased it went to me because.
Okay. Here's a question though.
Go on.
What was the sort of makeup in terms of genders and sort of ages of the people in the queues?
Complete change. There was one guy there that must have been early 20s. No real juniors. But yeah, guys 60 plus, all age ranges. Must admit, the first of the queue were the older guys. Tarnishing myself on that same brush.
Yeah.
But then as it got closer to like 7, 8 o'clock, you start to get some more youngsters that have obviously rolled out of bed.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They didn't want to sleep. They didn't want to sleep on the street. They rolled off of bed a little bit more sensible time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be quite heavily into it. I'm for me now, it's usually the Mr. Bongo box set and then a few other 45s that I buy.
Yeah.
But what did you end up getting this year?
So 45s wise, I managed to get myself the Paul Weller.
Hold on, let me solo you out. Hold on a second. So what's that? Hold that one again.
Paul Weller.
Which one is that? I didn't see.
Soul at Wandering.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, I must admit it's not a song that jumps to me, but it was on 45. I got the GBI Dave Grohl one.
Okay, yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
that one, I haven't even heard that song yet. But my favourite 45 that I bought, I've got some other albums, was this little beauty, classic song. Tom Jones. It's not unusual on orange vinyl.
the guy in front of me at Record Store Day was buying that, and I think he changed his mind at the last minute. And I think I said some stupid jad joke like, "It's not unusual to not like Tom Jones."
It goes down well at cheesy discos that I do.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Tom
Yeah.
Jones is a legendary singer.
Yeah.
I love him, and he's Welsh. One of my best DJ friends on Twitch.
Yeah.
Sam Tweaks is Welsh. But yeah, is that everything?
No. I also managed to get the Blur Park Life. I can't never say it. The Zoetrope.
Is that
I
the
haven't
one
opened it
by?
yet.
Did Strictly Kev do that one? Was it DJ Food who did the Zoetrope?
No. So Blur
the
Park
Blur.
Life. It's unopened, so I can't even look at the record yet. But
okay.
So it does the weird, funny dance of the pictures when you do it.
Yeah.
What were the other two that I got? Average White Band. I'm trying to think of the other. Orbital. And
the Orbital one.
Yeah, the orange and green with chime on it. That was
yeah.
Oh, you got me thinking.
I didn't get a huge amount, but I got obviously the Coco box set, which is
nice,
just amazing, and I've bought them. So interesting. I mean, 45 days, 5 in a couple of weeks.
Right.
But I've bought each one of these over the last 5 years. Obviously, we've got DJ Format,
cool.
2020. Then it was Kenny Dope. Then it was DJ Markey, Mike D. And then obviously DJ Coco, got to see him on Wednesday. So
yeah. Cool. So even at your level,
what Record Store Day means to me, those box sets.
and you still have to queue or take your potluck and go.
I was streaming in the morning, and I messaged the guy in my local record shop saying, "Have you got the Coco box set?" And he's like, "I've got 2." And I was like, "Okay, I can't get there till about 10, 10:15." But I went down with my daughter, and there was one left. So
excellent.
I got that. My daughter bought a record as well. She just liked the cover. Cool. So it's good that she's getting into buying stuff as well.
So my eldest daughter was into vinyl. She appreciates vinyl, and she's obviously got some. She was into Bad Blood, and I managed to pick up a second, Bastille, Bad Blood album.
Bastille, yeah.
I took her to see them at Newmarket Nights last year, and then bought for her birthday the album on a vintage.
Nice. It's nice to be able to share this passion downwards, because I know some of the other DJs have got kids who are into DJing. Some have got not into DJing at all, even though like one of the 2 or 3 kids is into it. So it's good that I'm glad that Zizi's into it, and it's great.
So my youngest daughter is she likes music, not so much into the vinyl, but likes the music. But she quite likes the dance music as well. So I can see maybe that it might come in future life.
That may be the digital, because I mean Zizi likes stuff like K-pop, and like Billie Eilish and stuff. So she's wanting to get a bit more into the digital, which is cool because at the end of the day, vinyl's always going to be there. Exactly. It's just how they want to express themselves in terms of music. Cool. Okay, I think we've got a couple more things to talk about. 45 day then. So you'd reached out to me and said that there might be this possibility of doing something, and I
Yeah.
sort of said maybe I can come along, but I couldn't because there's so much going on here.
Good.
But you are putting on an event, so tell us what's going on.
I am. My initial concept was, as I said, about this workshop, but I haven't managed to get that quite off the ground yet. But yeah, just so Wynal quite happy for hosting an event, and it just happens that my friend Ray Mead, otherwise known as Delta Celt on social media, he's coming up for the weekend. So I've managed to talk him into, and I've never done it before, doing a DJ battle. Star Wars based,
Yeah,
45 day.
of course.
So
Yeah.
yeah, two DJs, two decks, collection of records, and have a battle, back to back tracks. Just
I was
seen
going to
people do
say.
it
So
before.
what is the form? I've done some Sound Clash stuff before, but
Yeah.
what's the format that you've gone for?
Yeah, we just picked a couple of genres, and we're going to have a poke for our 45s, and literally, yeah, see and just go by the audience crowd. I've seen the battles where people get booed off, or not so much booed off, but you know, yeah, just I, to be honest, it's just for fun. But it was just the concept of having two DJs playing in the same venue at the same time, and yeah, it was cool. And it was his fault that I'm back in the final as well, so it's almost punishment for him that he does it. But he's done a few public events, but he's never. I think I can say now that I've done a few more than him. And but yeah, no, he's great. Yeah, I've been to a couple of parties
It's
where he's
just great,
DJ
yeah.
with
It's
him.
just great bringing people together, and
Yeah,
especially a themed event, and also
yeah,
like a sort of not a serious competition, but like
no,
competitiveness. Because it's the same when we put on the 45s event. It's almost like, what am I going to put in my bag that the other
yeah,
DJs are not going to play or not going to
exactly.
have? You
Yeah,
could just go for like the latest bangers or whatever, but you know that a
yeah,
few people might have them, or some people might drop them, and
yeah,
yeah, that's why it's so much fun though.
exactly.
And again, it's collaborating, it's working together as a
Yeah,
team,
yeah,
it's building
exactly.
a community and sort of spreading and
Yeah,
not knowing where it's going to go, because people
and
might come up and say, "Can I ever go next time?" or
yeah,
can I get involved?"
exactly. And it was that whole roll on of, well, if I haven't got the time to do the workshop or invite other people in, I've invited my good friend in. So as you say, it opens up to, yeah, uh,
It's just leaving
future events.
a bit of a legacy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's what I try to do with most of my events. Is like, if we go to a certain place, for example, we've done a few events in Edinburgh, Cambridge. I was talking tonight to Yvette,
Mhm.
who organises the stuff there, and they've done an event without me being involved, sort of following on from 45's events, and then they've got another one coming up on 45 Day as well.
Yeah.
And it's just really interesting to see how local DJs come together over a
Yeah.
format and a simple idea of, let's just play some records,
Yeah.
but a particular format, rather than
Exactly.
anything. And
Yeah.
it's interesting how much power that record has.
Exactly.
And
So as
being,
you,
it's like
as you,
75 years old. That's the other thing. 75 years old format that we're all still playing in
exactly.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
21st
I,
century.
I,
It's crazy,
I've
isn't it?
got some of them that, and I've got new pressures as you said. Yeah, as you say. But I think we agreed that there's two genres. And again, we've got to play to the audience because both our wives are going to be there, and we know
Right.
that they're not all going to like funk and soul. So I sort of said, well, look, yeah, let's put some 80s stuff in there that you play a bit of cheesy pop if you to please the audience as well. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's just being open to what people want to like, and some stuff
exactly.
they know, some stuff they don't
Yeah,
know, some stuff that's been remixed, reversioned. That's why it's great to be a
yeah.
45 DJ.
I
You can
know.
just go all over the place.
That's one thing my wife hates at the moment. I'm completely into original Gravity that are doing
Oh, I love
like
that label.
yeah
Yeah,
remixes of songs that she knows, and I put them on, and she goes, "I know this tune, but why?" It was like, yeah, just listen to the word, and
yeah.
baffles her.
Yeah. No, I love my cover versions, and that's such a
Yeah.
great label. I left the jump around version with Neca out in Panama because he just ordered the Praise You one, I think, and I was like, oh, I've got
Yeah,
the jump around one with me. I'll let you
got
have
that.
that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, that's good.
Step
Um,
Step Step On's the latest one that I bought. But
yeah. They're all amazing. They're all amazing. But how important has it been for you in terms of mental health as well, being able to do all this stuff, and being
I,
able to share it?
just it does give me a great, not empowerment. That's the wrong word. Yeah, it makes me feel positive about myself. The fact that I can help people and just give enjoyment back. That yeah, I say it's a hobby gone mad. I'm not doing it to make myself rich, not super famous, but just throwing myself out there, putting myself initially out of my comfort zone, and even doing things like this. Um, yeah, just to build it. Let people enjoy music they may not have heard, not too sure about. Uh, Last time a DJ played in Tree, I don't know. Just obviously you get private discos and that, but yeah, I've already sorted a next event that we're going to do, not in the not in Wynall, but just up the road at the pub. We're going to do a funk and soul night to raise money for another charity for adults with learning disabilities. So yeah,
Amazing. Amazing.
it just gives me a
Yeah.
real
Yeah, but do it,
positive
and at the
vibe
end,
and
yeah, and I think that's
mm,
one of the things that comes across with the music that we play, and not just funk and soul, but it's played with passion, isn't it? It's music that
yeah,
we've gone out and bought because we
exactly.
love so much, and obviously we now want to share that love of that particular song, and
Mm,
that's amazing. Yeah, and then who knows? You know, you said Leastock is just down the road.
yeah.
Is there a festival in Manning's Tree?
Uh, no, but yeah, there's plenty of events around. And last year there was an Earth Festival in
Okay.
Manningtree to celebrate all things about earthy things, the new solar energy and stuff like that. So a real positive vibe about it. And there was a mental health workshop there, and Steve took on the part of doing the musical side of it. So hence the back of my van, I came up with this, and all my kit that I DJ with publicly is all recycled. None of it's new. It's all bought off of eBay and traded. So it's all second-hand stuff. So again, I it's really positive for the environment that you don't need the latest kit. Although I'm very jealous of your Serato mixer there, but I wouldn't
Well,
even know
yeah.
how
I
to
mean, I
use
didn't,
it.
I didn't have it for a while, but it's
Yeah,
it's made a huge difference to how I
completely.
DJ and stuff. And because I mainly got it because Zizia wants to learn digital, so I was like, right, I've got to
Yeah,
teach myself first, get back in. Because I
exactly.
used to use Tractor before I got into 45s.
Yeah.
So yeah, and yeah, as
So yeah,
I thought you two would connect actually. So because Ed Bond says that your farm sounds very similar to his Send school gardening projects.
yeah, we had the same group of kids in today. So yeah, just picked them up. They got an absolute buzz out of it. Just being on the farm. We're quite open. Uh, yeah, just
And obviously, you say you've bonded over music. Is there particular music that they're into? I mean, are they into the new stuff or old stuff, or do they just
I
like
just
listening to whatever you tell them? Well, not tell
we
them, but play for them.
I because the guys that come regularly to the farm, I drive the bus, pick them up, and drop them off. I've come up with dare I say, a Spotify playlist, but it's all from Elvis up to some of my more dancey ravey tunes, and yeah, it's something for everybody. And of course you put it on shuffle, so you never quite know what comes on. That got one guy that's almost non-verbal, and Jerry Lee Lewis or something will come on, and he pipes up and says, "Oh, Jerry Lee Lewis,"
Amazing.
and just the fact that
There's the connection
yeah,
there.
completely, yeah,
That's great. And that's a lot of fun, and that must bring a lot of joy, like you say, when that something like that happens.
completely,
It's it's amazing.
the connection.
Um, okay, I didn't check before the show, but I did suggest if you could pick out
Cool.
345s that lift your spirits. I'm hoping you might have 345s.
I certainly have, yeah. So,
So tell us each one what each
shall we
one
go
is,
through?
and then
Right.
sort of hold it
So,
up.
so my first one is "Lovely Day"
Oh,
by
that's a great song.
that
That's a
is
great song.
just a song that all emotions. It lifts my spirits. It sad my spirits at times, and but yeah, just that's a go-to record to put on if I'm feeling down. It will lift my spirits, and yeah, lovely day. Just can make a lovely day.
It
Um,
does exactly what it says on the till. And what is that? Was that Sunshine Mix?
Sunshine Mix remixed by Ben Lee Brand. But
Oh, Ben Lee brand. Even
yeah,
okay,
I
I
know.
might have to check that out actually. But yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
but
cool.
that's just what I've got in mind. My mind. Another one that's it was so hard to do this. Just
Yeah, that's
when
what
you're
people say.
flicking through your 45s, it's just you flip, you think, oh,
I couldn't do it.
I know exactly. But these are just the three that I came up with. Next one is James Brown, Get Up Off of That Thing. Just
Yeah.
such a good funky soul track that love a bit of James Brown. Yeah, all these tracks are amazing, but one of my most popular ones. And a recent acquisition for the third one is Song 2, Blur. It's
Yes. Oh, that's a
on
nice picture sleeve on purple vinyl.
vinyl.
Is that a
Yeah.
recent reissue?
No, well, I'm trying to work it out. I don't know. I've picked it up recently. Associates, 1997. That couldn't have been. That must have been when the song was out.
Yeah, 97 would have been song
Yeah,
2, but I can't imagine it. I don't know. Maybe it did come out on
I don't
purple
know.
vinyl.
But it was a special release because it's. I don't know if you can see it comes with two CDs that I've actually managed to track down as well.
Oh, hold on. It's
Uh,
an extra. Oh, okay. So it's
it was a
a
special
2
edition
CD
release where
set which has got a 7-inch. Okay, cool.
yeah. So, but
So did
you
you
could.
buy it as a 7-inch or did you buy it as
I
a
bought
pack?
no. I bought the 7-inch separately, and then I've managed to source the two matching CDs as well to go with it. So it's a nice little
Yeah.
collection of. But that brings back fond memories of absolutely losing it to Song 2 at Blur's gig at Wembley on the Sunday last year. That yeah, we were on the floor and song came on and absolutely
Oh,
moshing to
it's a classic.
yeah.
And there's like some cool covers. There's like a really crazy brass cover by the Apples,
Yeah.
which of song 2, which is great, and that's got power. It's got the snap version of power on the flip
Oh
as well.
really?
Yeah. I'll find it. It's down there somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's cool. Again, I didn't check about the last thing, confectionery
Mm.
corner. Have you managed to do that as well? I'm very
I
impressed. You're a very good
yeah.
guest if you've managed that as well.
No, I've got it. Yeah. So three things here.
I always need to double check because there's been a couple of guests who are like, I'm not really into sugar or not really into sweets or whatever. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
let's see what you
Well,
got.
my daughter's already bagged one of these, so yeah, she can have them up. I'm probably not going to eat. So the first one that possibly takes me back is see that.
Fries, chocolate cream. Yeah, I was
So
never a huge fan. I remember
I
seeing them, but I was never a huge fan of them.
no, I liked them because the connection back to me takes back to my grandmother. Um, so she always used to love them, always used to have them in there. She used to break me off and give me a little bit. Um, but the connection is she lived in Eastbourne,
Oh right, okay.
uh,
Which is
which is
where I live.
exactly. So again, I just randomly,
That's
we must
random.
have crossed that. So,
Yeah.
but again, the fond memory of that she used to back onto an alleyway that
Right.
took. So fond memories of her going out. Oh, we'll go get some sweets. She had this vintage old scooter that I used to scoot along to the local shop that's now actually a vet on the corner shop, and I'd buy my sweets and she'd buy her phrase Bentos, and we'll go back. And yeah, that's fond memories of when I was a youngster. So
Amazing. And another link, Ed
yeah,
Bond again.
gone.
They made that in the chocolate factory by his childhood house.
Oh, how random's that?
Wow, random.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, I don't know where I'm going. I might try them for sentimental sake, but yeah,
Yeah, like I said, they were never my sort of. They're almost a bit like a really thick after eight, weren't they?
yeah,
I quite like
no,
after eights because they were like the right amount of chocolate and mint, but
yeah.
fries seem to be too much mint
But say
cream.
that the memory of that was back to my grandmother.
But yeah,
So
no, that's crazy.
then kind of moving up to the next one, which is and it's a Morrison's version.
Oh yeah, sherbet
The good old
lemons. I
classic
love.
boiled sherbet lemons.
Yes.
That's sort of my father's inspiration for me loving that. Memories of sitting in his Austin Maxi in the summer days in shorts with the plastic seats and going on family holidays and burning the back of your leg because the sun had been shining on and the seats were like fire things that but he'd always used to have some boiled sweets. I couldn't quite find it, but the other one that was very similar to that was either sherbet lemons or like the tin of sweets. They do still do them, but they're like hard-boiled sweets that are in
Oh, I
that
know, like
real sugar-coated.
a round sort of
That's it.
brass coloured.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they were, but I know what you mean.
No, but he'd always have a tin of them in his car. But conjured up memories of having sherbet lemons and burning the backs of your legs after a day on the beach, probably down on Eastbourne Beach. But back in those days. So that's that one. So I've sort of done a chocolate boiled sweet, and the last one is Hubba Bubba
Yes,
Bubblegum.
yes.
That,
My
that,
daughter
that,
likes it though. My daughter likes it now. She gets
well,
Hubba
so
Bubba.
my daughter's bags that one
Yeah,
afterwards.
of
But
course.
again, being a kid, I wouldn't touch the stuff now. But maybe just
Yeah,
buying
yeah.
like two or
I don't
three
think.
packs
Yeah,
and trying to get them all in your mouth at the same time to blow the biggest bubble that you can, and then pop it over your face. And
I don't think our teeth can really take
no,
that anymore. But I remember there used to be is it Hubba Bubba. What was the other one? They used to come in like all sorts of crazy flavors. They'd be like
yeah,
orange, and then there'd be
cola,
like apple and cola, and it'd be
yeah,
like, oh, I've got to get these ones. But you always
mm,
ended up coming back to the original because
yeah,
it's
exactly.
bubblegum, isn't it?
It was always the best.
Um,
But luckily, my local on the way to work, the post office had them, so it was like, oh yeah, there we go.
Cool, nice one. Right, well, I think we're about there. Let me just set this raid, and we'll take people to Germany to my good friend Mixter
Oh,
Hoffman. I think he's live. It looks like he's doing a housewarming or something.
excellent,
But Keith, thank you so much.
brilliant.
It's been a lot of fun
Been a
finding
pleasure.
out more about you. I mean, hang on there for a minute. We'll have a quick sort of chat after the show.
No worries.
And I'm really excited to find out how 45 Day goes. And there's a flyer, and we'll sort out some logos. And I'm going to send you some documentation and stuff and stickers and stuff.
Oh, brilliant.
And then yeah, let's talk about doing something later in the year. My brain's already
Brilliant.
the cogs are already working in my brain
Yeah,
about what we could do, but it could be pretty cool.
or something.
But
Excellent.
thanks
But
so
no,
much. If anyone wants to watch it back, it'll
thanks
be
for
on
having a guest.
YouTube and then on Mixcloud. But otherwise, we will speak to you soon. But yeah,
Excellent.
hang on there for a
Okay.
sec.